Oh my god. Oh, it's so sad, so sad. Oh god. Oh my god, this is not enough. Get your ass over here, Spidey. Oh god, I'm a mess. Oh god. I can't believe this is the end to this series, guys. I can't believe it's all coming to an end. This is the final review. It's so sad, man. But hey, it's good to know that it'll be ending on a high note. What the hell? Oh god, the hell was that? Oh. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Gwen channel, and welcome back to our little Spider-Man movie review series. This is the final Spider-Man movie I'm going to be reviewing. This is the final review. Oh my god, so sad, so overdramatic. Yeah, I'm sorry for that little opening. So overdramatic, I'm very sorry. But the Spider-Man movie I'm reviewing today is a very gorgeous looking movie. Like visually, it looks beautiful, you know, so much CGI and so much hard work put into it with the effects and stuff. It looks gorgeous. Behind all that, it's easily one of the weakest Spider-Man movies to ever exist, mainly due to it being crammed in with a whole bunch of villains. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, a pretty anticipated movie back in 2014, being marketed as the beginning of Spidey's greatest battle. And with a tagline like that, people were pretty intrigued with this movie, I assume. Not only that, but the amount of villains that have been put into this movie. 3 villains, and because of that, people were easily very anticipated for this movie, and they were very, very intrigued. And yeah, it seemed like this was going to be the craziest Spider-Man movie of all time. But it ended up being the weakest Spider-Man movie of all time. Yeah. And do I feel the same way? Well, I don't know. What did I think of The Amazing Spider-Man 2? Yeah, this is my least favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. This is the one Spider-Man movie that I found the least enjoyment out of all Spider-Man movies so far. Yeah, I don't really like this movie. It's mainly very boring. You know, and it's also, not only that, it's also the longest Spider-Man movie of all time. This thing, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes, like, come on. But it makes sense, because this movie has to balance so much stuff, so much villains and characters and plots and all that, and it's just, that's why this movie is so goddamn long. And honestly, I'm just gonna go straight off the bat with the best thing about this movie. The best thing about this movie are the special effects and the action scenes. Just like the first Amazing Spider-Man, the special effects and the CGI in this movie looks incredible. This is one thing that these two movies do so well, is the CGI, the special effects, and the action scenes. They do it so well in these two movies. They look incredible. Everything, it doesn't just look like a bunch of CGI. They actually look pretty real and look really good and really impressive. The CGI, action scenes, they all look amazing. And that's just one thing I love about these two movies. And yeah, I love the action scenes in this movie, especially the stuff between Spider-Man and Electro. Those fight scenes look incredible. They look like so much fun to watch, and they look so good. There's a few slow motion shots here and there with Spider-Man doing some really cool shit in slow motion, and it looks really, really cool. And yeah, and what makes these action scenes even more better is seeing Spidey in his brand new suit doing all these cool stuff. And speaking of that, the new suit in this movie, Spidey's new suit, it looks incredible. It looks amazing. It's easily one of my favorite Spider-Man suits of all time. It looks awesome. I love the new suit in this movie. It looks incredible. It looks amazing. I love the new suit. And yes, the action scene, special effects, the new suit, it all looks so good. Yeah. Now let's move on. Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy. Their relationship in this movie is still going on. It's still continuing for like a few minutes until everything starts to fall apart for Peter, I guess, being a little guilty for still dating Gwen, because before Gwen's father died, he promised Peter just to stay away from Gwen just in case of her being in potential danger, because he's Spider-Man, and he feels kind of guilty over that. And yeah, and then they break up again. Yep. Again.
And again.
And we are literally told that, just to be clear.
I break up with you.
Thanks for that. Yeah, it's just kind of this thing that goes on pretty much throughout the whole movie, before, near the climax. It's just Peter and Gwen, just a little bit of drama going on at the start of the movie. And it's like, we've dealt with this so many times in all these Spider-Man movies, especially with the Raimi trilogy, with Peter and Mary Jane, with drama and arguing and not getting along, and now we're getting it again. And pretty much Peter and Gwen already did break up at the end of The Amazing Spider-Man, then go back together, and now it's kind kind of, they're breaking up again, and it's kind of like, we keep dealing with this over and over and over, and it's happening again, and it's kind of just happening throughout this whole movie about her wanting to leave. Like, they come back together a little bit, but then she's talking about having to leave, and it's just kind of this who gives a shit plot about Gwen leaving and Peter being sad and all that. It's just who gives a shit. And yeah, they just keep doing this again and again, and it's just so annoying. I just want it to stop. So yes, this whole plot about Peter and Gwen, it's just, I never gave a shit about it. I never found it interesting. I just didn't give two shits about it. So annoying. But yeah, let's try to really quickly talk about these fucking villains. Max Dillon, aka Electro, being played by Jamie Foxx, and when it comes to his performance, he did a pretty good job for what he was told to do. For what he was told to do, he did a pretty good job. With his look, his design, Electro's design, not fully accurate to how he looks in the comics, but, you know, gave him a new look. It's kind of grown on me. I don't mind it too much. It's obviously not completely accurate, but it looks fine. So yeah, not a bad performance and a very decent design. But with his character and how he grows to become this villain, this is pretty much it.
You're somebody.
Spidey. You lied to me. I'm Electro.
Bam! There's your fucking villain. Goes from Spidey fanboy to Spidey villain. And that's Electro. Yeah, he's not really anything too special. So that's pretty much Electro. He's like a huge fan of Spider-Man, gets saved by Spider-Man, and then he feels betrayed by Spider-Man and turns into a villain. And it's really nothing all that special. Obviously, a lot of people have said this has been done before, kind of like a fanboy of a superhero and then turns into a villain of that superhero, and it's kind of been done in other movies before, so it's really nothing different. It's really nothing special, nothing different. It's just that all over again done with Electro, and that's really why I consider him to be a bit of a weak villain. Obviously, he's not the worst villain, or the worst Spider-Man villain, obviously. No, he's definitely not the worst Spider-Man villain. We talk about that later. No, Electro is not the worst Spider-Man villain, no, not at all. He's just a little bit weak, and he's not a very special villain. Of course, the fight scenes between him and Spider-Man are a lot of fun, but overall, there's nothing special about his character. He's just another fanboy, goes into a villain, and then that's it. That's just his character, and he's really nothing special. Yep, that's Electro. So now it's time to move on to the next villain, the green, ugly piece of shit. Who is Harry Osborn? Yes, Harry Osborn is a part of this universe. Yeah, and apparently him and Peter have been friends for like quite some time. Yeah, and we've only heard of it until now. We didn't hear anything about Harry in the first movie, so what the hell? Yeah, it was just kind of a thing that I guess they crammed in or something, yeah. Good job! But yeah, we do spend quite a bit of time with Harry in this movie, of him pretty much trying to, he's dying pretty much. He gets infected by something, and he's dying apparently, and he needs to find a cure. He tries to use Spider-Man's blood. Spidey says no, and then he tries to find some other cure that could possibly stop him from dying, and when he uses it, that ends up turning him into the green, not really though, Goblin. Yeah, and we do spend a lot of time with him in this movie, and with him trying to find this cure and stuff. It's not like, oh, this is so much fun, this is a great part of the movie, I love watching this. It's honestly nothing really too fun to watch. It's a bit slow, and it's just, it's kind of boring. And then when he does finally injects himself with this serum thing and turns him into the Green Goblin, he turns into this look at me, this ugly ass crammed in piece of shit. The Green Goblin looks disgusting in this movie. He looks terrible. His design looks nothing like how he looks in the comics. I honestly prefer the original look and the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man Green Goblin's look. He looks way better on that. I actually prefer that than this. He looks just, I don't like him. He looks nothing like the Green Goblin. He looks awful. His design looks terrible. And of course, he's just another crammed in villain. He's just like, let's put him in here for like marketing purposes and just be like, hey, Green Goblin's in this movie, more villains, hype, yeah, the Green Goblin has a little fight scene and stuff, and that's it. That's the Green Goblin in this movie. Yeah. Green Goblin's really bad in this movie. He's barely in the movie, and I'm kind of glad because his design looks terrible. And overall, Harry Osborn in this movie was not a very interesting character. Didn't really care about him, and the scenes with him were really slow and boring. And yeah, that was fucking Green Goblin. Not a great villain. Yeah, very, very kind of not very good. Pretty shit. Now it's time to move on to the more brief villain, the Rhino. Starts off as this random crook that Spider-Man is trying to chase after into this Transformer. Fucking Rhino, yeah. Fucking Rhino, yeah. He's a shit villain. I don't even know if I should consider him as a villain, because he does nothing in this movie. He just starts off as this random crook that Spider-Man's chasing after, and then we don't see him until the very end, where he's suddenly breaking out of prison, and he's suddenly this Transformer, and yeah, that's the Rhino. No development with his character. There's nothing about him. He's just this villain that's meant to set up more sequels, and there you fucking go. He's easily the worst Spider-Man villain. There's nothing good about him. He's a shit villain, or just the shit guy to set up a fucking sequel. That's all that he is. And yeah, the Rhino, I don't know what to say about him, except he's kind of, I mean, no disrespect to the actor, but he felt also very miscast with this actor playing this guy. He felt just didn't really suit the role. And the Rhino wasn't the Rhino. He was just some weird Transformer looking thing. So that's all I can say about the Rhino. He's easily my least favorite Spider-Man villain, because there's nothing good about him. We know nothing about him. Yeah, he's really bad, and that's all the villains in this movie. Yeah, a lot of them are not very good, unfortunately. The most boringest thing about this movie is the whole little plot about Peter's parents. The untold story that we were meant to get in the first movie, but now we're getting in this movie, about Peter's parents are like spies? I don't know. I barely remember. There's a whole scene, this whole thing with Peter going down in this, finding this hidden train inside it, and it's a message from his father, and I actually don't remember. It's so fucking forgettable, and it's just this little plot that they put into this movie about Peter trying to figure out about his parents, and it's so boring. Holy fuck! I'm so shocked that they actually thought this was good. They were like, this is great, everyone's gonna love this. This is a fucking Spider-Man movie, and they're putting in this shit. This is the untold story, everybody. Oh my god, it is so boring. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out. This whole plot about Peter's parents is so fucking boring. I don't give a shit about it. That's one of the things that really stops me from rewatching this movie, is this whole plot about Peter's parents. Holy shit, it's boring. Another thing I want to talk about is Gwen Stacy's death scene. Now, obviously, that scene, it is a pretty sad scene, and Andrew Garfield's performance in it is very heartbreaking. Seriously, props to Andrew Garfield. He did a great job pulling that off. He did a really good job. But I felt it was a little too early to kill off Gwen Stacy. Yeah, I thought it was a little too early. We're only in the second movie, and Gwen Stacy's already dead. And she was not a bad character. She wasn't too bad, and they killed her off so quickly. And with what they were going to do next in the third Amazing Spider-Man, this whole plot about Peter resurrecting Gwen Stacy with this thing, like, why would you kill her off if you're going to use a plot like that with what they originally had planned? Why would you even kill her off in the first place? Yeah, for what they had planned with what they were gonna do next with that was just fucking weird. Oh my god, this movie. This may have some cool action scenes, and impressive special effects, and a snazzy looking suit, but overall this film just struggles with balancing all these characters and plots and villains and all this stuff, and at the end it just is really this slow, messy movie that is really difficult to enjoy, and it's easily just the weakest and probably the worst Spider-Man movie of all time, and I was just really disappointed with this movie. And would I recommend The Amazing Spider-Man 2 for people who haven't seen the movie? Not really. This movie is kind of a waste of your time. Like, there's no other movies that come out after this. I mean, if you're interested in the movie and you want to see Andrew Garfield's portrayal of this character, if you enjoy Andrew Garfield as this character, then yeah, watch it. But if not, if you don't care about this movie, then I say hell no, don't watch this movie. It's kind of a waste of your time. And yeah, that's all I can really say about this movie. It is the weakest Spider-Man movie of all time. I find this movie extremely boring, and yeah, I wouldn't really recommend it. Sorry. And that is it. That is the conclusion to my little Spider-Man movie review series. That's it. How long did it take for me to complete this series? About, 2 months? It took me about 2 months to get this series completed, and now it's finally over. My goal is completed. I have reviewed every single Spider-Man movie that has never been reviewed on this channel before. Over. It's completed. So I want to try to get this done quick. So I hope you enjoyed this little series I've decided to do. I'm a massive Spidey fan, so I just thought this would be really fun. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And we are only 5 months away from the release of Spider-Man No Way Home. And I am wondering myself if we're going to be getting any sort of appearance from Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield with the whole multiverse thing. I am wondering myself. It would be pretty crazy to see them back as Spider-Man. And it would be crazy. I actually am pretty hoping that will happen. Fingers crossed. And yeah, this is going to be the end of the video. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. You can't see me. Oh, shit. Yeah. What the hell? Oh.